Good evening, everybody. Okay, I want to illustrate tonight how easy it is, or how much easier it is, to be profitable trading when you know what signals and patterns to be looking for. And that is very evident in the Dow. We can see the bobble breakout. When it came up Friday through the 50, we knew that if the market's open positive today, you wanted to be buying immediately. You didn't need to have any hesitation, that your probabilities were extremely strong, that you were in a bobble breakout J-hook pattern. So this allows you to, first of all, in here, with it closing up here, right in here, we didn't know whether we should be long or short. Friday, when it closed above the 50, we could see what pattern was setting up. We knew immediately at that point that positive trading would warrant that we wanted to be very predominantly long at that point. The same thing was setting up in the S&P 500. So what it boils down to is, if we can see exactly the same type of pattern setup that we've seen many times before, we know that that's a pattern that has obviously formed many times before. That's why we're looking at that pattern in the first place. Knowing that if they couldn't close it back below the T-line and they brought it back up through the resistance level, we knew what the results should be. More than likely, we're going to have a wave 1, wave 2, bobble breakout, wave same magnitude as wave 1, definitely making this gap area a likely target. Well, if that's what we can assume, is if that gap area is a likely target, then we can also kind of extrapolate the fact that we probably have 2, 3, 4, 5 days, 7 trading days to the upside from here. That at least has us be predominantly long, unless there's something really drastic that changes that evaluation. We can also see what happened. I mean, this is not rocket science. Big Doji Harami bullish confirmation in the oversold area. That likely told us we were heading higher. Excuse me. J-hook pattern. Wave 3, starting with a little kicker type signal. Just the fact that we can visually analyze that a little kicker type signal occurred told us there was probably exorbitant strength coming into the next wave. Not exorbitant strength, but good strength coming into the next wave, giving us the indication that wave 3 of a J-hook pattern was about ready to start. So if you take all, and the basic information is knowing what each signal and what each pattern is usually going to produce, we can start extrapolating that. For example, the recommendation on Watt today was based on, notice where they pulled it back, double doji, or a doji bullish breakout. You can pretty well, you can, I don't know whether you'd call it a wedge. I'd call it a wedge. But you can see what type of pattern we had, a fry pan bottom. Now, was it exactly what we wanted today? Definitely not. Not a strong day. But however, what do we know about our next pattern or signal setup? We can be pretty assured of that if they open this positive tomorrow, number one, the doji rule says it's going to trade 2. We can pretty well calculate what the magnitude of the move is going to be. But if it's a doji sandwich, tomorrow's trading range should be substantial, or of this ilk. Why buy what? Stocks and calls. Oh, in some accounts we were buying the stock, and in other accounts we were buying the calls. So our strategy was basically bullish, just whatever strategy you wanted to use. So even if I was a day trader and I saw this opening positive, I don't have to wait to see if it's going to confirm. I can pretty well see that probably within the first 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 seconds, if they're still buying, I want to start jumping in and get in as early as possible with the hope or the anticipation that we're going to have that type of price move. So that whole analysis is based on, we should know what to expect based upon what type of signal and pattern we're familiar with. Again, even if it opens, right, you don't jump in, but then if you start seeing it start trading positive, that tells you which way they're taking it. All right, some of the other ones. Today we had somebody ask, can we be buying fate here? And we get this question quite a bit, but this is part of the learning process of knowing when to begin into a trade. If this is a good trade, are you looking at your 10-minute chart at the open? Not necessarily. If I see where it's opening and what it's doing, if you want to be more refined, yes, you can pull up your 10-minute chart. There's a lot of times where if I'm ready to buy something, I can split. Not really. I can flip back and forth between the 10-minute and the daily. First of all, the daily is going to tell me I've already got one indication that they're opening up positive. So that's my first indication that I'm wanting to go along. Now, if it waffles in here, not doing too much, I can flip over to my 10-minute chart and see what it's doing. Well, here's two elements of somebody saying, all right, should I be buying now? Well, what's our best places to be buying a stock? First of all, when our stochastics are probably closer to the oversold area. So has this had a run to it? You know, obviously when it did the doji sandwich breakout, up 3 points on a $9 price or an $8.50 price. So you've already got a 40% move in it. That's the type of move you're trying to get, not trying to get in to a stock after it's had a 40% move. So if you're looking at this on a pure evaluation basis, is this the time to be buying? One, you're already getting up into the oversold area. Overbought area. Two, you've already had a 40% run from where the buy signal told us to get in. Three, you could probably right through the tops and see that you've run into kind of a resistance level. So I guess the rhetorical question would be, you're in the overbought area, you're up 35-40% from the time to be buying, you've hit a resistance level to buy this stock, and the answer obviously is no. So what do you do with this chart? You say, all right, this is a good looking chart from where it should have been bought. So what's my evaluation? What did this area look like that told me that was the start of the buy? Yeah, and just moved away from the T-line. That's true too. So what you want to do is kind of say, all right, this one's not a good time to get in, so I missed this trade. But this is what it looked like when it was starting to be a buy. This is what I want to remember. What did it look like down here? Oh, I don't know if it's on a monthly chart, whether it's at a resistance level, but that doesn't really... Yeah, that's not a concern. RP, hold on to your individual ones. We'll get to them. I've got that one on our evaluation list. So fate now tells you, all right, we want to start watching. We're getting up into the overbought area. What's our next strategy on this one? Instead of being a buyer, we better start watching to see when it's time to take profits. For example, if it opened higher and started trading higher tomorrow, I probably wouldn't want to see it come back down through the open. That would tell me at this resistance level in the overbought condition, we're starting to see the sellers come in. So what do we want to see at resistance levels? Whoops, let me make this smaller. You can pretty much draw a trend line right down through the tops. Where are we? We're right there. Now, does this tell us it's time to start watching? Definitely. Well, what's our other criteria that tells us we might have a breakout? Obviously, we've got a J-hook pattern today with kind of your best friend type signal, a doji gap up. We closed right on the resistance level. Yeah, I guess the earnings are tomorrow. You want to see what it does tomorrow. If they start taking this up through this resistance level, that tells us we're still in progress. Now, that brings us to our next question. Do we want to hold this through earnings? Well, if it's getting to be 10 minutes before closing, and it's traded up here and then closed back down here, and they're kind of selling it going into the close, that pretty much tells me that everybody that's going on with this company might be selling it off. Yep, I'll close out the position. On the other hand, if it opens here and closes up here, or even closes up here, I'd say, all right, they aren't selling it as they're going into earnings. That gives me a good prospect that things are all right. Crisp is one we had earlier, but look where it broke out. Right there. And what type of pattern do we have set up? This looks like your classic. That, not quite. I'm going to say that could be a fry pan bottom. This right here gives us the impression of a fry pan bottom. So if this breaks out through here, what's that tell us? Well, if it went from 20 to 45, that this might be able to get up into the mid-60s. Yeah, so Square's earnings are after hours on tomorrow. So if we go into the close, I'll close it out and wait to see what happens afterwards. Vetco, VECO, is one that we were buying because of the best friend pattern. Now a J-hook. So if this is wave one and they do a J-hook, where do you think the next likely target's going to be? Well, if this is wave one, wave three probably takes you up here to the 200, which also coincides with that little gap right there. And KTR, the bigger this signal is, the more compelling there's been a change of investor sentiment. In this case, again, we're using the 34 now, it's supported on that. But what type of pattern do we have set up now? Our 45 degree. That tells us that if you're in it, you just stay long as it stays above the T line. STX, same scenario, J-hook pattern. We recommended this one today, but it didn't do what it was supposed to, meaning it opened and immediately traded down. But then it closed as a doji. So what's our next criteria? If this opens positive tomorrow, you want to be buying immediately because your doji sandwich or your McMuffin. Morningstar signal followed by a doji sandwich. McMuffin's in progress. And what's that imply? That there's going to be a lot more upside. VSAT. Bullish Harami, right smack dab. Or at the 50-day moving average. Radius. Where did this close today with a doji? Kind of right there at the resistance levels. If this opens positive, you want to be buying. It's telling you that wave 3 is now in progress. So this is part of the analysis human nature normally does as far as patterns, and where everybody else is watching. Fortunately, we have the advantage of seeing what type of pattern is setting up or what type of signal we've seen, such as in GPOR. We had a kicker signal. That implies there's still going to be more upside, making probably the 50-day moving average your target. So we can utilize the information in each signal or pattern to tell us exactly what takeout area. Today we have a bearish engulfing signal in the overbought area right at the breakout area. What does that imply about your breakout area? How do you know when to cut the slow movers? If you've seen a buy signal and after maybe if you see a buy signal based upon, let's say, a big bullish engulfing signal or a bullish Harami, remember the Japanese logic that if they can close the price halfway down that candle that told you the bulls had taken control, that means the bears are still in control. You close it right back out again. If you buy something, let's say you bought on this day, and then for the next 4 or 5 days it went sideways, what's that telling you? Yeah, it's probably not working. Close it out. Probably will be doing a bobble. Let's see. All right. Again, use your analysis of kind of a kicker type signal, but what was the nature of your signals up here right at the breakout area? They were having a hard time getting up through that level. So what's the signals themselves would kind of give you some information that they're having a hard time moving positive, and the fact that they're doing it right at the same level that they fizzled out would tell you, if this opens lower tomorrow, close it out. It's not working. Move on to something else. You can also hook pattern. You can buy it back then. But anytime you see a situation where it's not doing what it's supposed to and you're starting to see indecisive trading, that's why, once again, the bricks and mortar of candlestick analysis is knowing what the nature is of each individual signal. So even though you're not in the overbought area yet, you got a shooting star. Shooting star doji. Opens positive and trades lower. Now another doji. What's that illustrating? That the bulls really don't have a lot of strength up here. No. If a candle engulfs two or more of the previous candles, it's just a mere function of the bigger the signal, the more compelling has been a change of investors' sentiment. Remember, every time we're buying something, I'm going to use Watt because I'll probably be buying Watt on positive trading again tomorrow. If it opens positive, what is our assumption based upon what we know about this type of setup? Our assumption is it should be trading positive. If it opens positive and trades positive and then closes down here, what was our assumption? Our assumption was it should be trading positive. If it closes back down here, it didn't do what we thought it would, close it out. This is the process for cutting your losses short and letting your profits run. Just knowing exactly what investor sentiment should be doing based upon the signal setup. Ron, no, I usually do not include the after-hours trading because what we're really interested in is what everybody's doing. And just a quick example, you might have something like Apple during the day, and it may trade 4,000 after hours. That's not representative of what all the buyers and sellers are doing. Yeah, even so if you're buying this, it's based upon this fry pan bottom. Now, the ultimate, if you wanted to hold on to it, would be that it shouldn't close back below the T line. But tomorrow, as far as if it opens positive, there's a strong probability it should be trading positive. So where were we? On IRTC. If we know we're at a breakout level and it opens positive, we know what it should be doing. It should be breaking out. It shouldn't be doing a bearish engulfing signal. If we can see where the breakout level is, we shouldn't be seeing selling up here. Now, this one wasn't as bad because it's got the steady eddy, but it needs to stay above the T line. Does the gap concern you that it's very close? The gap. Meaning this gap right here. I'm not even sure if it didn't fill that gap today already. So it's already gap on 126. Which would be right about in here. I don't see any gap. The big gap. Oh, no. That gap's already been filled. That was filled right here. So that's not a gap that, I mean, that gap's filled, so that's not a gap anymore. Below that one. Oh, here? No, because it's already come back once and supported. So, right now, it's not telling us that they're ready to come back down here. It's told us there was a new breakout. Now, it may come back 2 months from now, 2 years from now, but right now, the pattern is showing that buyers are there. So we're not buying this or not buying this because of this. So that's not any credence. Right now, what we're buying is the pattern that is currently being set up, which is your fry pan bottom. AXDX ever since the left-right combo, and then your inverted hammers. Now, they did touch the 50 today. So you still have to watch to see if they can get up through the 50 of each pattern. So knowing what your bobble pattern illustrates, if they open this lower tomorrow and I was long, I'd probably close it out, wait to see what they do back at the T-line again, and then be ready to buy it on the next buy signal and or buy it above the 50. Now, some of the biggies, along with the market, previous high. Amazon, just a nice steady eddy. And I think there is a that's where the potential target could be. Apple, notice what type of pattern. Whoops. It created. There's your J-hook pattern. If this is wave 1, where does wave 3 go? Up here somewhere. It comes up through there. What's that tell us about this? The first target is here. And then, if this is wave 1, wave 3 should break you out through that level. NVIDIA, nothing. This is kind of the weak sister of all of them. Nothing really here until they can break out through this level again, which would put you back up into this trend trajectory. Oversold area. Are these gap up at oversold area? Man, I don't understand the question. Oh, on something like Apple. Well, you're coming out of you're referring to Apple. No, you've got to gap up. And where did it gap up? Well, we can see the pattern. Now, had this been straight up and it gapped up, yeah, that'd be a little bit more disconcerting. But the fact that we have a J-hook pattern, we can measure what our next move is. Now what it's telling us is there's been some consolidation in here. It's not exuberance at the top. It's telling us they're coming out of the pattern with some exuberance. That's exactly where you want to be buying. Because if this, again, is wave 3, it's going to come up through this resistance level. And a gap up that's confirming a trading pattern. For example, this was steady up, steady up, steady up, and then they had a gap up here. That's where you start watching for your selling. Notice what happened over here. Bullish move, bullish move, gap up, then you could start seeing the selling was coming in. Yeah, patterns can be, especially fry pan bottoms, they're usually going to break out when they get to the overbought area. So the difference between your signals and your patterns are the signals you want to look for in the oversold area. Your pattern breakouts are probably already going to be in the overbought area. Labu, you can see what's setting up here. There's your inverted hammer, inverted hammer, inverted hammer, hammer, bullish confirmation. They come up through here, you know your next wave is in progress. Labu, you could, but it gives you more indication that the biotechs are starting to move. You might scan through the biotech stocks and see which ones have the best signals. And Nugget, the other ETF, looks like it's trying to do a double bottom. Now remember, I keep coming back to the discussion that everybody's saying, oh, that's a one white soldier. And I don't know where that comes from. There is no one white soldier. There's three white soldiers, but this is not a signal. This is just an up day and a downtrend. So anytime you see a non-reversal signal, be more apt to watch for the bounce versus a reversal. You've got a little hammer signal, an inverted hammer, another almost inverted hammer. This becomes more of a qualified reversal signal telling you, all right, if they start trading positive from here, you had your bounce, your pullback, then the true signal, which would be more apt to kind of confirm that you hit a double bottom setup, which gives you that much more probability it's in progress. Okay, some other ones that were looking good. IMMR. You can see kind of the rounding bottom. You can see the morning star signal, the gap up. I would suspect the fact that you can see kind of a fry pan bottom breakout is more than likely you're going to be in a 45 degree. Go down. Sometimes frank, sometimes not. That's why you don't listen to what do I say, the adages. You can be aware of them, but what's your criteria for confirming your charts and see what the charts are telling you? Here's gold. Is that telling you that gold is going down when the market's going up? Doesn't look like it. ARWR. What's all the implications on this chart? There's your fry pan bottom. There's your strong price move. There's kind of a lengthy pullback, but when did the uptrend start? After your left-right combo, almost a bounce off the 50. Was there a resistance level that could be obviously be seen? Pretty much. And then they gapped it up today. So what's that imply? That there's a new dynamic, that wave 3 is going to be the same as wave 1. That could be true, but that's not necessarily true either. Now, as far as Rick saying that gold and the dollar could be, remember the gold and the dollar sometimes is inverse to crude oil. Obviously, if the dollar's going down, that means it becomes more expensive to buy crude oil, so crude oil goes up. Or it becomes cheaper to buy crude oil, so crude oil goes up. Yeah, so the correlations are never foolproof. They're generalizations, but we have the advantage of seeing whether those generalizations are going to act true or not. Same scenario. Is there anything that looks obvious here as far as a new dynamic? Pretty much, in fact, they broke through the highs. Tells us there's probably a new uptrend in progress. DPI. We did the session this patterns that work effectively. We got kind of a belt hold, and this goes along with the old or kind of the professing of the Japanese rice traders, which is where do most people sell? They panic sell at the bottom. So anytime you see that gap down in an the first thing you've got to think about is that's usually where the buying occurs. The second thing is who's doing the buying, and it's usually the smart money. So this is why whenever I see a gap down in an oversold condition, I start watching for the buying. Now there's a nice belt hold type signal where they gapped it down. Now they've brought it back up. It took them 3 days. Signal it took to get back up here. Here's your bullish doji sandwich. That tells me they've probably wiped out a lot of sellers out down here. Means there's less sellers in the way of any buying. Correlations were more consistent when humans controlled the market before the algos added more volatility. Yeah, the only discrepancy in that analogy, Robert, is whatever the algorithms are, they are all still developed and implemented by humans. So it's not like it's not like you've moved away from the human. The automatic trading was still formulated by humans. Oh, why do I have this one in here? Oh, I think this one was just to illustrate. Look where the hammer signal occurred, right smack dab off the 50. Wave 1, wave... yeah, I like volatility. I'd rather be in something that's starting to move based upon, or versus being in a pattern. It's when they break out to the upside that the activity starts. CHRS. Inverted hammer, inverted hammer, bullish confirmation. Makes this very simple. If this one breaks through, already kind of broken through there, breaks through the 50, it's coming back up in this area, giving you somewhere about a 20 to 30% upside. That's right. It's 13-year-old kids write the algorithms. There's your J-hook pattern and KOS. You can be buying this one. Edit. Observe the obvious. You've got a trend channel. Let's get this out of the way. Where's our next likely target? Based upon it bouncing off the bottom of the trend channel. Remind me, I'll tell you a story of why kids are better formulators than us older folks. ITCI. There's your J-hook pattern, starting with your best friend gap up. This one, I would not be afraid to be buying on positive trading tomorrow, especially when you can recognize the pattern and you know how the new wave is starting. Reversal signals. Well, whoops. Could that be a good entry point after the two? Well, yeah, this is what we call. Notice the consolidation was fairly indecisive. Above today's close, ITSE is in the oversold area. Okay, let me go back again. ITSE, no, you're doing a pattern. Remember, you're buying the signal. When you're in the oversold area, you're buying the pattern area. So if you're buying this one on positive trading, remember the important factors of candlestick analysis is where it opens and where it closes. So obviously a positive open would be positive or trading positive the next day. Morningstar signal. This is GTN. Another one that has a high prospect. If it opens positive, at least they're going to bounce back up probably to the 50-day moving average. Now, I told you there's been a drastic change in investor sentiment. You can start looking to short this one on weakness. That's ERGS. Now, we recommended shorting SNAP because there's your gap down, and so far there's no buying. So where's your next target? We're just now below where this opened. That tells us the bears are probably in control. I'd look for it to move back down toward the 200 or the 50-day moving average combination. G. There's your bullish Harami, but where were we in stochastics? We weren't in the oversold area. So what would have been a confirmation of our bullish Harami? They start trading it positive the next day, either opening a positive or trading positive. What they do on this one? They gapped it back down and went south. What type of signal is that? Well, that becomes your bearish trend kicker. Tristan, yes. Just for insurance purposes, that if all of a sudden there's a big reversal for some reason, an announcement or a world event, that I'm not exposed 100% in one direction or the other. So just as a safety factor. Now, that safety factor isn't to be a hedge in the sense that in an up market that the bear signals are going to be maybe heading up slower than good bullish signals. Market, we're going to be able to find 5, 10, 15 good short positions. We're going to be able to find 5, 10, 15 good long positions. But if we know that the market is heading up, we probably want to go with the flow and have mostly long positions in the portfolio. But that doesn't mean we won't make money with short positions. So if you had shorted SNAP after the kicker type signal, and over the last 4 or 5 days, even though your market is heading back up, SNAP is heading down. You're always going to find enough good short positions as well as long positions, no matter what market you're in. IRDM. This is a good example of when you see that big bearish engulfing belt hold type signal, usually implies the sellers are starting to take control with great force. Same thing, MT. That big signal told you the bears are taking control. It's still heading in that direction. We're heading in a downward direction. ALB, kicker signal. You can be shorting this one or buying puts on this one tomorrow, just as a safety factor. That's right. Okay. Oh, yes. How when I first set up the website, I think it was back in 2001. I had a partner that I don't know whether he was about my age, but he worked that time may still be one of the biggest money managers in the world. I think at the time they were managing $50 billion or so. And so he was their computer person. So our deal was that he would set up the website. And, well, I can remember the website was set up, and he kept saying, "Oh, I'm working on something great. You're really going to like this for the website." And this went on for a couple weeks. He said, "Oh, I'm really getting it. You're really going to like it." So one evening he said, "All right, look at the home page." And I looked at the home page and didn't see anything different. I said, "Well, what is it?" And he goes, "Well, don't you see it?" And I said, "No." He said, "Look over at the top left." I forget whatever it was, whether it was a click here or something, was blinking. He said, "Look at that, it's blinking. That'll attract everybody's attention." I said, "Okay." So I looked at that little blinking thing that took him 2 weeks to do, and he was all proud of that. Well, then eventually I got a hold of Javier, which is Abraham's older brother, and I started having him do stuff for me. So there, I had a page that needed to be changed. There was a few things changed on it. And so I called him and I said, "Javier, can you take a look at such and such a page?" And I said, "Here's what I need. I need to have the words changed to this, this, and this, moved over here, and I need to have it doing this and doing this." And so I wanted to have that done. And I said, okay, thinking if it took about the same time as what my partner had done on making a blinking icon, I said, "How long do you think that's take? Can you do that in a week or two?" And he said, "Mr. Steve, hit refresh." So I hit refresh, and everything I told him that I wanted done was already done. So, and he was probably at that time, I want to say 19. So I figured out it's kind of stupid to have somebody older. That's true too, John. Did you pay him for a week's work? No, Javier actually came and worked for me for a couple of years. Then he went on to bigger and better things. There was a meet because we had one of these early gurus that told you how to market your websites. We'd go to meetings every Thursday night or so, and so I met Javier there. He was recommended by the guru, and he worked for me for a couple years, and then there was another guy there that who had developed this colon cleansing, so we called him Dr. Poop. But Javier eventually went and worked for him. That's right. I think it was Dr. He has a product that's colon cleansing. I called him when it was Dr. Poop. So. Okay. Right now, we've got an extremely high probability that we're back in an uptrend, and in this normal, not normal, but expected type of uptrend. You've had this trend, you've had this pullback, and then eventually they bring it back up into the trend. So with that, Jim, go ahead and do the double line. And then in 3.1 seconds, do the next double line. PMI, not found. Oh, is that too much information? Oops. So much for that. DRNA. This one you kind of be a little bit careful of. I mean, you stay long, but you can see how you broke out through this level. So you're in the overbought area, stay long, have your AMRS, there's your left-right combo. If this opens weaker tomorrow, I'd take profits. VIPs, I think we did. No, we didn't. This is another taking out. If this opens lower, you close it tomorrow. If it trades sideways tomorrow, I'd close it out because you're stuck sideways. Then I'd put a buy stop up above this level. That's when I'd get back in. UPS, you can start buying this one. You won't make a heck of a lot of money with it, but it should be all right. Oh yes, of a doji sandwich. It's still not going to make a heck of a lot of money percentage-wise, but you'd be heading in the right direction off this little J-hook pattern. Shopify. The kicker signal took a lot of the juice out of this one, but they couldn't get it to go down below the T-line. You can be buying this one on positive trading. That would tell you the T-line level. CRTO. Another one you can get ready to buy if it breaks this little downtrending channel. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. That would tell you you've got a J-hook pattern. Notice your kind of scoop type pattern. Cradle pattern. This one you can get ready to buy on positive trading tomorrow. Oh, you took the words right out of my mouth. Yes, cradle pattern. SRNE, another one you can stay long, but if it trades lower tomorrow, close it out, and then again, put your buy stop up here somewhere, that if it comes back up through that level, they're still in an uptrend. OCUL, you can buy this one, just make sure your volume is good. Got kind of the rounding bottom, and CLS. Another one, a J-hook type pattern. You can be buying this one. ESV. Whoops, hold on. Wrinkled my page here. ESV. It backed off a little bit, but you can see it used the T-line as support. CMCM, not real strong. If you're long, it has. You want to see it open positive tomorrow. If it opens lower, I'd close it out because that tells you you don't have a real strong uptrend in progress. Cuervo, slow curve. You can be buying this one. ABC. Yep, you can be buying this one also. You can see same kind of scenario. Big uptrend, consolidation. I'd be a buyer of this one on strength. Use the T-line as your stop. You can be buying this one. MFA, not anything wildly exciting just yet, but it is in kind of a J-hook pattern. You're just now getting through this downtrend. If you're buying it, obviously watch to see what happens once you get to the 50-day moving average. Precision drilling, nothing here of any great consequence. So here's a case where somebody was asking earlier, when do you get out of a flat trading? If this one opened lower tomorrow, telling me they really haven't gone anywhere, I'd close it out. You can always buy it back if it comes back up through this level. JNUG, still starting to come back up. You can be buying this one. All of the gold seem to have picked up a little bit of strength today. Nugget, if it opens positive, you can be buying that one also. VCEL, another one that's more than likely coming back up into the trend trajectory. SRNE, we did that one. Needs to open positive. Look to this level. If this opens lower tomorrow, you close it out, and you put your buy stop up here somewhere, or you watch to see when it comes up through the handle. HRTX, you can be buying this one, but notice what's happening. This is one of the things that we kind of evaluated this weekend. When you have an uptrend, it pulls back, a nice strong morning star signal. What you want to see is a non-sell signal that you want to break this level. If you see a sell signal, what can you imply is happening? You're kind of going into this wedge formation, which means you probably don't want to be trading it until it trades. There, we did this one. It closed right here on the trend resistance level. If it opens positive, you can be buying. However, if tomorrow after the close they're going to announce earnings, you have to be a little bit prepared to see what they do on the close. We did DRNA. You stay long on this. Put a safe. Well, what the heck? Let's see. All right. TTPH, yeah, we did that one, the cradle type pattern. Cito, Nothing great. You do have buying. So if you're buying on positive trading, just be the 50. But again, you've still got a downtrending overhead on this one. eBay, you stay long as it stays above the T line. It's just not one of those wild movers where you're going to make a whole lot of money. So you want to hold it as long as it stays above the T line. Nothing on this one. AVEO wouldn't be long or short. We can't be short, but CMCM, yes, has to open positive. Wayfair. Oh boy, right now, if you covered your short position today, get ready to reshort it if it comes back down through today's open. Other than that, it's going to take a while for this to get healed again. I probably wouldn't be trading it for a while. Get ready to buy this one, but also be aware of QCOM's trading range. It's been pretty much sideways for the last 3 months. So if you're buying, you definitely need to see it break out through this level to tell you they've gotten out of the range. ACAD, this line shouldn't be here, but you're right near the breakout level on a J-hook bobble type pattern. You can stay long on this one or be buying this one on positive trading also. OLED, IMMU, you can be buying this one. Not anything wildly exciting, just a high probability trade that after you did a left-right combo off the 50, then did a doji sandwich up through the T line, breaking this downtrending. My mic was bad. Another one that if you can be buying this one with the anticipation you might have a quick bounce back up to the T line, but these that have big moves like that take a while for them to heal up. So you essentially have to use the charts to tell you which way it's moving. Mankind, you can see you're in a wedge. You can be buying this one out through this little level right here. NPTN, nothing to get excited about on this one. Downtrend, resistance level, no real strong reversal signal. I'd be someplace else. TIRS, nothing wildly exciting other than the slow uptrend scenario. You just stay long as it stays above the T line. Now with that doji gap up, if it trades lower tomorrow, I'd probably close it out, figuring it's going to at least come back to test the T line. Ford, you can think about buying this one. It's not going to be a big percentage move. Be something that if you were planning on buying it, it'd be much more for a longer term hold. Figuring your monthly has hit the bottom. Yeah, right now we've been looking at it to get back in it a while ago. It's just nothing exciting has happened as far as being a good chart. Now on a trade basis, yeah, even then it's not a very big mover. Overstock, kind of sideways. I'd probably do the 50 telling me I've got a bobble breakout. Pure Storage, nothing to do here except stay long if it stays above the T-line. CECO, look for a 45 degree. Anytime you have these big breakout moves, expect that 45 degree. And CLDR, stay long on this one. Let's see what it does tomorrow if it opens next resistance level. Facebook, I think we did. You can buy this if you like it. It's just not one of your best trading charts. Labu, we did. SCCO, nice J-hook pattern confirmation. You stay with it. As safety, you put your stop at today's open. In this one, just watch to see what happens at the 50 because you pretty much have a resistance level right there at the 50. You can see the J-hook pattern be the 50, which kind of would coincide with that little support area. Oh, Rick, no, you put the two that you want to see the best. CTL, another one that if you like it, you can be buying it. With the J-hook prospect bringing you back up to the 2 CBZ, 45 degree, just stay long. Boeing, just stay long. Again, you're right here at this breakout area. Be a buyer. You can still be a buyer of this one on strength. We did Smegmo, AK Steel. Not a great looking chart. I don't know what to tell you. That's just not a good looking chart. And Hertz, it has to open positive and trade positive. If it comes back below the T line, that means it's back below the halfway point of the candle that created the kicker signal. I'd close it out. But right now it has to stay above the trend. Sunrun, just stay long. You can see how it did a J-hook support off the T-line. SNR, that's not coming up. Amazon, we did. Amazon, it's just a nice steady eddy. You stay with it. Lockheed, watch diligently at that level. Skechers, another one you can be boxed like it's trying to come back up into the trend channel. Costco was up pretty good today. There's your J. You can buy this one on positive trading because that would give you a McMuffin, would tell you the probabilities are pretty strong that you're going to have more upside. CVRR. If you're short, you stay short. Okay. Boyd kind of went sour as far as the short. Right now, I wouldn't be long or short this one. There's just nothing there. DNR. Get ready to come out of this one if you're long, if it opens weaker tomorrow. Momo. Oh, the big gap up. Very Harami. If it opens lower, you close it out. That means you'll probably be in a bobble pattern. To stay long, it has to open positive and trade positive. Weatherford had a good-looking chart setting up, but came back and tested the T-line. Above the T-line. To go long, I'd use today's open. If it comes up through there, the consolidation back to the T-line tells you they're not selling it off. They were just profit-taking. There's still more upside. Rapid 7. You can be buying this one. Verizon. Verizon you can be buying. You're just not going to make a lot of money with this one. This is a slow-moving institutional trader. QCOM, if there's buyout rumors, if you're buying it based on that, you're all right. It's not like you've reached a peak someplace and you're the last one in. So I'd buy it on that basis that you definitely have to watch to see what the chart is telling you. IBM, there's kind of your bobble breakout. With this one positive tomorrow, but the markets are going to continue up for a while. Very, you can buy this one. 50-day moving average is your target. How do you enter a trade? I decide the stock I want at the open and offer a little less than market before I would buy at open and find out. I usually, if I'm going to buy, it's based upon the probabilities telling me that it's working. I just buy it. I don't want to sit around trying to decide what penny or what 10-cent mark to get in. If I'm buying this one on positive trading tomorrow and I see it open positive and it's trading positive after 30, 60, 90 seconds, yeah, I'll buy it because that's what it's supposed to be doing. When you announce personally are buying a stock, and given that we all have our own rules and due diligence, should we construe that as a go for us to buy immediately? No. When I say I'm buying something, the first thing you should do, what did we buy today? Oh, I bought what? The first thing I bought it as it was coming back up. The first thing you should do is analyze the chart, and from whatever I've said, analyze why that is the time to buy. Now, the number one rule, or not number one rule, is if you've got your trading rules and somebody, there's a lot of good ideas put out in here. Some in during the day. But I still look at the ones, if it's a $2 stock, I don't buy $2 stocks. So it might be a good chart. I just look at it. If it's a, somebody says, I know Trader Abe puts out a lot of good ones. Gary C. puts out a lot of good ones. I'll look at them, and if they fit my criteria, I'll watch them for a few minutes, and if they're working, I'll go ahead and buy them. But I would say 95% of the time, I'm not buying anything during the middle part of the day. I'm either waiting for the end of the day or the open of the next day. Yes, you can always, anytime you're looking at something and somebody says, so if I'm saying I'm buying it, that's because people want to know what I'm actually doing. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to jump in buy. The first thing you want to be doing before you make any trades is learning why that trade is going to be good. Hook pattern, you can buy this one. Salesforce, stay long. It broke out through kind of the resistance level. The oil index or service stock, you can be buying this one, especially if it comes up through the 200. I think did we do Win? Win, I'd rather be a buyer of this one if it comes up through the 50. AMAT, you stay long. If I was long, I'd have my safety stop at today's open. Oh, I don't recognize a BYDDF. I recognize Boyd, nothing there, and I recognize Dean Food. You can get ready to go short if this comes back down through today's open. We did. You can get ready to buy this one. USAT. Nothing wildly exciting here. You're stuck in a range. You don't have a reversal signal, which tells me I'd be more apt to see it lose steam at the R. I'd be more apt to be going after this one on strength. You had reversal signals confirmed. Now a Morningstar signal, J-hook type pattern. Still wouldn't be a wildly exciting one, but I would suspect that it's going to come back up and test the moving averages, going higher. Okay, with that, everybody have a good evening. We will see you bright and early in the chat rooms tomorrow. We'll see you then.